Jesse, how do you close in DMs without hopping on a sales call?
That's a great question to start off with. I would say it starts a bit before that. So I'm a big fan of content. Like I'm a big fan of just generating inbound leads, which on LinkedIn can be done through content. So whereas before, I would say the process was a little bit like easier because back in 2023, not many people were like pitching and like closing in the DMs. So it was easier, I would say, just to have a, a like a just a normal conversation between human beings, like just figuring out, okay, where are they, what have they tried in relation to in relationship to the problem they want to solve, and then just when it's a fit, offer them a solution, which is like a high ticket offer or like a program or like any form of coaching. And I would say now that we're in an age that more people have been doing this, so more people are more aware of like being pitch slapped in the DMs. I'm sure you've had those cold
Oh,
DMs,
yeah.
people just trying to sell
Every
you
day.
things straight out the gate, and your natural response is like, okay, who am I, who are you, and why should I listen to you? So I feel like building trust through content and just building a relationship prior to selling things to DMs is as important as basically closing the deal in the DMs.
So before heading to the DMs, do you have a formula in terms of you got to comment on their posts so many times? Do you have to engage with them? Do you have to like their stuff? Do you wait, a day or two before contacting? How does that? What does that look like?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of like getting inbound leads. So basically, people coming to you as a service provider. And I think one of the main ways of LinkedIn these days is people posting like lead magnet posts, like, hey, comment X to get this resource. I'm sure you've seen those on your feed,
Oh yeah.
like playbooks, GPTs, like templates, swipe files. And I would say that's a perfect way to get someone from out of the unknown into your inbox, but still lead with value. So like that's my favorite way of doing things. So I provide a resource for free on the timeline. The people that are interested in that, they just comment. I send them a DM with that resource, and at the same time, I just open up a conversation, very natural, and I'm just asking them where in their journey they are, and based from that, we start a conversation. So I'm not pitching them straight away. I'm not sending them my booking link or a payment link or whatsoever. So I start from them coming to me basically because they raise their hand in this post, and then I follow up through a DM.
I'm happy you brought that up because I see that all the time. So if somebody writes a post, write in the comments, whatever, GPT, if you want this free resource. Is that ever automated? Like, do you use automation to send that in a DM, or is it always you? Is it always a human?
Yeah, so in the beginning, I have always sent that myself, but at some point, we just got to quite a level of scale with like hundreds, if not thousands, of comments every single day. Like basically, people like raising their hands, so inbound leads, and so we had to look for a way to automate this process because let's be honest, I'm not gonna spend 6 hours a day to follow up with people.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think uh, a good problem to have is that I went too viral. I think in the last 4 months, like 40% of the posts had gotten more than 1,000 comments, more than 1,000 people
Wow.
raising their hands for this resource. And
Crazy.
as these resources are all related to our main programs, these are qualified people, right? They're just looking to solve a specific part in their business. So at some point we moved to a tool called LeadShark. Big fan of the platform. It's quite a new tool, but the guys are very responsive, and it just allowed us to deliver this resource at scale. Because one of my main things with these lead magnet posts, they've gotten a bad reputation because a lot of people post them, but they don't follow up. And I always want to make sure that I follow up with these people that raise their hands. I understand that there is a delay, and that's basically because LinkedIn doesn't allow you to send thousands and thousands of messages a day, like perhaps you can do on like cold email or through Instagram. So on LinkedIn, there's a cap. So, like I said, because we just went so viral for quite a while, we have a massive backlog. But I always force myself to just keep following up with these people because let's be honest, like that's how a relationship is built,
For
right?
sure.
By them asking for a resource and integrity, just following up with them and making sure that they get the resource.
So when you follow up with them in a DM, are you sending them to somewhere to sign up, or are you just giving them the PDF or whatever it is right there in the DM?
Yeah, so we've tested both things. In the beginning, we just we sent the resource directly, and at the same time, like I said, we opened up the conversation. Recently, I think like 2-3 months ago, we moved away from sending the resource directly, and we put an opt-in in between. So I capture the email, mainly because email has become our number one sales channel, and I'm not selling as much on LinkedIn as before. LinkedIn is just top of funnel, just getting people into our orbit. So it's hard to test, right? Because you can't really split test it. Because I understand that if you send people straight to the resource, they have it. But if you put an opt-in in between, there will be a drop-off, right? People asking for a resource and then seeing that they have to opt in. Oh, okay. So there might be like a drop-off there. But at the same time, I understand that if you craft the message right and you just really position it this way, like, hey, here's the resource you asked for. Go download, like fill in your email here and it will be sent to your inbox. You position it in such a way of like, hey, not like I need your email, but no. If you do this step, I will send it to your email. So you position yourself as you providing a service to them. It's a small nuance, but I think that can just be a massive differentiator in having a lot of drop off, or instead of getting a lot of signups in that case in your email.
I want to talk about content for a second. So it's 2026 now. 2025 was the age of everybody sounding smart with AI on LinkedIn with posts and comments for that matter. How important is it going into the year to make our posts more personal so that when somebody reads it, they know it's not AI?
Yeah, this is such a big topic, and I'm using AI a lot in everything that I do because it's the biggest leverage, right? However, I've grown allergic to this AI content, like the AI fluff. Like it's not this, it's not that, it's not this. No. You know the structures. Like we all know like this typical AI content. So it's very easy to call that out, right? So what I tell all of our clients is that yes, leverage it, co-create with it, use it as like specific parts in your process, whether it's in the ideation process, the creation process, or the refinement or the editing process. However, I think the biggest thing that I'm like in terms of content in 2026 is saying the things only you can say. Because I can write a paper on thermophysics in like the next 5 minutes. I can make it look smart with like the right references. I can have the right formatting, but I've never done the thing. And someone that has studied that for 20 years or 40 years or like graduated on that, they can write the same paper, but they can infuse the things that they have learned through being the work, through the experiments, and through the research they have done, like the nuances. Like you have specific knowledge in interviewing people because you've done so many interviews. So I can still write a post about like podcasting and interviewing people for LinkedIn, but you have the sauce, the things that only you can say. So Naval Ravikant talks about specific knowledge, and he talked about this like back in 2019 for the first time. But I believe that's gonna be just even more important. Like just understanding that I have specific knowledge through writing thousands and thousands of LinkedIn posts, to educating a lot of people on these specific topics. Like I can look at a hook and within split seconds I know what's wrong with it. And someone else can know the theory, but they don't have to build that muscle. So I think moving into 2026 with like the barrier of content creation is zero, right? But I would say the barrier for quality has become higher because everyone can churn out like shitty content, but it's harder to create great content, right? Because LinkedIn, like AI doesn't know what a great post is, so we have to start learning. Like if you ask it to write a good LinkedIn post, you get some Shakespeare stuff. And you're like, no one's gonna read that. But I feel the more personal, the more authentic, even sometimes forgetting like grammar or like formatting rules on LinkedIn can work if that's part of your style.
I think people should be using more video in 2026.
Sorry, this is a question?
Yeah, you think I know a lot of people are trying to, especially the people who don't want to get in front of video. A lot of them are doing it deliberately now because they need to build trust. And over the last year, like we just talked about, there's so many AI generated posts, and nobody knows if it's actually them actually doing the post or not, or if it's ChatGPT. So a lot of people are switching to video, getting in front of the camera and just talking to build trust. Do you think that's important going into the new year?
Yeah, 100%. Like I'm a big fan of video. Like I became more bullish on YouTube. I very much believe that it's a great channel to build trust. Like people that watch 2 hours of my videos are more likely to at some point enroll in some of our programs.
For sure.
Whereas on LinkedIn, people just scroll around. I think that's one part. Like it's easy to build trust. I think the other perspective here is that especially with a lot, like most of our clients, they are experts, they're coaches, consultants, founders, agency owners. They're absolutely great at what they do. Some of them sold their business for 8 figures. Some of them been in the space for 20, 30, 40 years. And what I tell them sometimes is that it's very easy for them to just speak about their things, whether it's in a video or just like a raw video, whether it goes on YouTube or on LinkedIn, and use the transcript to then create content off. Because when they sit down and they have to write, they have this writer's block because they're never used to writing. But every expert you talk to, like, and I'm sure you can see this in podcasting as well, ask them a question and they just start rambling.
Yeah.
They can talk for 20 minutes and they will be like amazed by what they say. So every time that my clients are stuck, I'm just explaining them like, hey, you can use video as well, or start prompting yourself as you've been interviewed. So I think video in that case can serve multiple purposes. First, as like a trust builder, as like an output, like something on your channel, but at the same time, it can become such a powerful asset in your content creation process.
Got a couple of minutes left, but I want to ask this one last question. You mentioned one time it's important to productize your expertise into a scalable offer instead of just selling your time. What did you mean by that?
Well, I think that when you're starting out as like a solopreneur, I think the easiest way to start is like you're selling your time, whether it's like through consultancy or some form of ghostwriting. It's great, but at some point you get capped in terms of energy and time, right? Because you keep doing the same thing over and over again. And the beauty of like being an expert is that by default you develop expertise, right? Otherwise you wouldn't be called an expert. And we're now living in an era where we can use code and content, two of the most scalable ways of like building leverage, to still deliver your core service but to a broader audience, right? So one of the examples that we have in our business, like I used to spend a lot of time with people one-on-one on an offer call in the beginning of our partnership, because building out the core offer is very important. To fast forward to today, we've built an application which is like a fraction of the cost. Like normally people spend like up to $500 an hour, and now they can get the application for like $9, which helps them to craft their offers in minutes. So and they just basically interact with a version of my brain and my business partner and our team's expertise into that thing. So that's why I'm like, we're living in an age where I believe that one of the next $1 billion companies can be done by 1 or 2 people, because we have so much leverage. Like there are so many, whether we use automations or agents or specific workflows. And I think as a solopreneur or as a service provider, we have this specific knowledge. And whereas before we had to be in the room to deliver the value or to solve that specific problem, now we can think of ways like, okay, how can I put this into a GPT or a application or even a video? Like already recording a video and giving that to your client with a worksheet is a way of productization.
Yeah.
Right? Because normally you had to hop on them with a call, explain them through things, but now you can basically say like, hey, watch this video, then do this worksheet, and then we hop on a call for 10 minutes. Whereas before you hopped on a call for like 70 or 80 minutes. So you basically like fractionalize the whole process. You give the client the toolkit to execute on his or her terms. So you just basically excel the whole process.
We've got about 20 seconds left. If people want to work with you or find out more about you, where would they go?
Yeah, so LinkedIn is the main hub. Jesse from Burgle. Follow the purple dot. Same on YouTube, Jesse from Burgle. And if you're interested in some of the programs, the business is called Authority Figures, because that's what we do. We help people productize the knowledge to become an authority figure and scale their info business from there.